Ever since 18, I received the most reality punches I've ever received. Like Thanos really was hitting them hard. Before 18, I was pretty naive, and I'm still naive sometime. And who isn't? Like, all our entire lives, all we do is learn from our mistakes, just like Tony Stark. Because Tony always learns from his mistakes. And I had this mindset, that I can't wait to finish school. I can't wait to be done with high school, get into the real world, start working, and have a job and be free. And while there are a lot of things I really love of me being an adult, and I really love the adult life. Like, for me, I think I've learned more in the past 2 years than I ever did in those 4 years between 14 and 18. Before I graduated high school, I had this naive idea that the moment I graduate, everybody will be coming after me. No matter the company, no matter the job, they'll be saying, okay, this is a young man, we want him. But then I turned 18 and nobody showed up. And you find out that you have to have a bit of struggle to actually make it in this life, because you're 18 now, you are a full grown-up adult, you finish high school, so you gotta pick a career path. And that's a bummer, because ever since, like, before turning 18, I was so confident that my entire life I'll be doing videography and photography, and I'll be working in an industry like this, in the media industry, maybe on a movie set, in a studio or somewhere. But then you wake up at 18 and you realize, wait a minute, but I gotta put in more work than I ever did in high school. And so that's one punch. Then you have the marriage part, because now you're eligible for marriage, and people advise you to get married as soon as you can, because marrying early is better for people in general, statistically somehow. Like, when I was 17, I really had this idea that by the age of 20 I'll be married, I'll have my first kid, and I'll be settled in my own home. But ever since I turned 18, I realized, wait, this is a tough decision, because whoever you choose as your partner will have consequences. If you choose the right partner, everything will go out great, but if you choose the wrong one, your entire life will be doomed. Also, there's this mentality nowadays that you gotta be settled already before you get married. So, like, you gotta be rich, or at least be financially stable, so that you can get married, so there will be no struggle in your marriage. This is something that a lot of Generation X will be against. Like, they will be telling you, mate, you gotta have those struggles in your first years of marriage, especially the financial ones. So that's a bummer. Also, there's a fear that you might never live up to your best self in that marriage. Okay, so I really don't want to be a burden to anybody. I do believe in the traditional marriage, like, in a way that I believe in stay-at-home mother, but I also gotta live up to that. So I gotta be the one doing the hustle when it comes to the financial part. So that's a fear I have. When you're young, you can take a lot of risks. Like, you can make a lot of mistakes. People are more forgiving when you're young. But when you're growing older, people will no longer be that forgiving of your own failures. Your decisions when you're young are very important, from the person you marry, to your career choice, to the way you choose to socialize. They are very important, so you gotta be very careful. But here's the thing, our fear of failure tends a lot of the time to be stronger than our will to act. And if we stay in the same place, and if in 10 years from now on, when I'll be 30, I'll be in the same place when I was 20, that's a big loss. One of the things that really changed ever since I was 18 was my social life. I work in an industry that, despite me doing some IT at home for my father, I like to do mostly photography and videography. So the way I socialize with people has changed a lot over the past 2 years. So in my teenage years, I was quite an introvert. I didn't go out. I was like kind of I didn't like to go out. I would rather have a peaceful time at home than going out with people. But then when I was 16, I wanted to have a group of friends. So I found a group of friends. I was like almost every day. My parents didn't find me home. Like I was every afternoon. I was with a friend or with a group of friends. But then ever since turning 18 and we started growing up, we kind of grew apart. So everybody's doing his own thing at the moment. But mostly me. I did grow apart from many people, and this also applies to relationships. This is something I've heard, that people are like plants. The more you stay with the wrong people, the more harm they're gonna do. Like, you know, their roots will be all over you, and you don't want that. But also, if you find the right people and they inspire you to do greatness and to do great, then that's also a win. But my social life changed a lot because I started to read more people. I started to be more cautious with people, because in this industry you can get easily scammed. And I actually had a situation when one of my friends attempted to scam me of a wedding. I genuinely think that ever since the age of 18, you will grow up more in 2 years than you did in your teenage years. This is my personal experience, so maybe for you it will be very different. My suggestion is to try to experiment with life. You know, your life is always going to have ups and downs. And you know, currently I'm in my period of time when I spend a lot of time at home, you know, doing my craft, doing YouTube. Yeah, my screen time is kind of a problem lately, because I just don't go out that much as I used to. And it's a period of growing, and it's a period of analyzing. It's a period of trying things out and see if they work, like this channel. And I know that I gotta put the work in, and I gotta be dedicated to make this work. So that's that. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. I know this is long. I want to do long content as well, so that's kind of it.